racing. 3 trucks race side by side. It causes some of the wildest rides yet on the TNT Monster Truck Challenge. And look at this. Bigfoot 8 is banned from competition. Monster Truck fans, I'm Scott Douglas. Joining me later will be Army Armstrong and Chris Chapman. We're in Texas Stadium, just outside of Dallas, where the world's most famous monster trucks are racing for the World Championship on the TNT Monster Truck Challenge. Highlights in Texas Stadium. Bigfoot 8 banned from competition. It's a huge field with 3-lane racing and 18 trucks in the field. The first time it's ever happened, 3 at a time coming down the track in Texas Stadium. The preeminent story is Bigfoot 8. Here he was in Albuquerque, New Mexico, blowing away the field. After taking a year off to build this truck, no question Bigfoot 8 is dominated. But now TNT has banned Bigfoot 8 to let the other trucks catch up technologically. Here's Army Armstrong, and he's with Bigfoot 8 driver Andy Brass.
Well, thanks, Scott. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the story in monster truck racing. There has been a major rule change take place in this sport. It affects only one truck, the big blue truck of Bob Chandler, your current national points leader. Standing with me is Andy Brass, the gentleman that was driving Bigfoot number 8, the truck that was affected by the rules change. Andy, tell me exactly what it is all about.
Well, the new rule change is that the truck must contain your leaf springs, coil springs, or coilover shocks. Our truck doesn't. Our truck runs a nitrogen-charged shock on a cantilever suspension, which gives the truck a lot of travel. We're roughly running 20 to 24 inches of travel. The truck's been working real good, and it's been proven. I took over the points champion with the truck, and like I say, it works so well that the guys are having a hard time keeping up with us, so now they're banning us from competition until further notice.
Okay, let's get back to that one point. The guys are having problems. The guys you're talking about, are the other competitors are racing against you. Their point is this, Andy. They say, look, he came in second one year and didn't come back and race with us. We raced the whole year. These guys, Bigfoot, was touring with another company. They weren't even running with us. If we'd have had the year they had off, we could have built a good truck too. What's your all stance on that?
Well, they could have took a year off, I feel. We run with other promoters and stuff last year. We didn't run the truck as much as what we wanted to with TNT. We did take the time off. We designed us a new truck, and like I say, it was a year off. It was a year designing. The truck was put together. We tested it for 3 months. We brought it out this year, and we proved to them that proved to the people that the truck will work. It does work. It's a fast truck. It's a safer truck. The truck flies better. It stops a lot easier. It's a lot easier on the driver. It's a lot better truck. The truck is more technically advanced, and because of that, we're being penalized and thrown out.
That's the story from the blue truck side, the Bigfoot side. Let's check with Chris Chapman and find out what the other side of this big story is.
Thanks, Army. I've just spoken with TNT officials, and they say that they're in the process of deciding what to do with Bigfoot 8. TNT's goal is to keep the sport as competitive as possible, and right now the apparent key to solving this controversy is time. Time is what it's going to take for the other drivers to get their new trucks ready for the circuit. At that time, TNT plans to let Bigfoot 8 return. This should all take place within a couple of weeks. Back to you, Scott and Army.
Big story in Texas Stadium. The big story from a week ago was that Bigfoot took the points lead away from the equalizer before the banishment. Now, Bigfoot 4 will be allowed to continue to accumulate points for the Bigfoot camp. The Auto Value King Crunch, Awesome Kong, Carolina Crusher, Grave Digger, USA 1, Buffalo Trimmer, Nightlife, and the Outlaw, rounding out the top 10 on the 1990 TNT Monster Truck Challenge point standings. Bigfoot 4 with driver John Pyatt is on the track at Texas Stadium in Dallas. Now, this is a qualifying run. Bigfoot 4's points will be added to the points of Bigfoot 8, so he'll continue to accumulate points until what time the TNT will allow the Bigfoot 8 truck back in. However, this truck, Bigfoot 4, broke on this qualifying run. It's the only time we'll see him tonight at Texas Stadium. That's certainly the big story. You can see the backfiring from underneath the engine. Big problems for John Pyatt. The Bigfoot 4 truck was not ready, really, to compete at Texas Stadium, and it goes by the wayside early. We're going to take a look at first round action now. Again, remember, this is the first time ever 3 monster trucks, 1 time, 1 race course. Making history with the TNT Monster Truck Challenge, and you're about to see it as Gravedigger, Carolina Crusher, and Wild Hare line up to go side by side by side at Texas Stadium, Dallas, Texas. Gravedigger's broken on the line. Dennis Anderson knocked out for the night, and the Carolina Crusher impressively gets a win on this 3-lane course. Dennis Anderson's truck, plagued by breakage all season, has it jump up and bite him again in Texas Stadium. The disgusted driver of the Gravedigger pops out, and again, it looks like he's looking at the drive line, possibly transmission problems, but the Digger is history. Stick a fork in him. He's done for tonight in Texas Stadium. Well, this is going to be a simple replay on the Digger's part of it. He barely moves. Crusher, with a good shot out of the center lane, gets the victory over Gravedigger and the Wild Hare in first-round competition. And again, it's back to more wrenches and more work for Dennis Anderson and the Gravedigger crew. We're coming right back with highlights of first-round competition. 3 lanes of monster truck action. Truck Challenge on ESPN. Scott Douglas, Army Armstrong, and Chris Chapman back with you in Texas Stadium. History being made by TNT. The first time ever. 3 monster trucks, same time, same course, and we're expecting wild action on this round of TNT Monster Action. Here we go with Awesome Kong, USA 1, and the Auto Value King Crunch. 3 of the biggest names in the sport, side by side by side. USA number 1 comes away with the victory as Steve Wilke able to get a win over 2 other trucks. This has got to be fun for Wilke, not just beating up on one of his opponents, but knocking down Awesome Kong and the Auto Value King Crunch at the same time. He was bouncing a little bit, but USA 1 got a true bounce to get him up on that second set of cars, and a smooth victory for Steve Wilke for the Everett Jasper team and the USA 1 bunch out of Ham Lake, Minnesota. Here comes Army Armstrong to talk to Steve Wilke.
Steve, seems like there's all kind of little problems popping up at Texas Stadium tonight we haven't seen all year long. Everybody seems to be a little bit uptight. What's going on?
Long track, Army. We get the stretch trucks out again. I laid down one that the truck, we changed gears, went back to the outdoor setup on it, and the True Value Master Mechanic Chevrolet is just humming. I come up against Awesome and Crunch in the indoor season all year and had some trouble with them. I owed them, and that's the way she's going to run, Army, I'm telling you right now.
One of the most intense figures in the sport today, Steve Wilke, with a win in USA 1. There's Mike Wine, the driver of the newly designed Outlaw Ford. The new paint job is already on the truck, and a little later this summer, it'll be a completely new truck for Mike Wine's driving talent to try out. Nick Rossi builds the truck for him out of Pennsauken, New Jersey. His opponents here are 2 Chevrolets, the Clydesdale from Georgia, the Nightlife from Nebraska. The big Ford records a victory over both of the Chevrolet trucks, the Outlaw and Mike Wine getting the win over Dave Wysoryk's Nightlife and Bennett Clark in the Clydesdale. Here they come to the second set. It was Nightlife making up ground, but not quite enough, as you'll see at the finish line, which is right coming into that last set of cars. It is indeed by a hair the Outlaw. Mike Wine gets the win, and Mike got out of the building before we could talk to him. We'll try and catch up with Mike a little later. We're going to jump, though, right into the quarterfinal round of competition, and a very interesting matchup here. One of the rare appearances by a woman driving a monster truck out of the Phoenix area. It's Arlene Ed. She drives the Fanatic against USA 1 and Awesome Kong, so she has got to battle a couple of the biggest dogs, and they're underway as Steve Wilke, USA 1, the Awesome Kong truck and Fanatic go at it, and I'll tell you, USA 1 is loaded for bear here today. The win goes to Steve Wilke and USA number 1 as we take another look at it. USA 1 picks up victories in the first round and now an impressive win in the quarterfinals. Mike Wine had to leave the building quickly. The pits are so far away, I think there's a lot of heat building up in the engines, but he's back inside now with Army Armstrong. So, Army, what's Mike got to say?
Well, he's been the big factor. Mike Wine carrying the colors for the Ford camp, not able to stop for the end of the track interview a minute ago. What's the deal? You just trying to get heat out of that engine?
Brand new truck, Army. This is the first time we ran it. The truck is 2 hours old. We've worked on it on the trailer on the way here from New Jersey. We don't even have electric fans on it. I'm running 280 degrees. I got to keep driving it outside and keep putting water in the radiator and get it cooled down to come back. But I will be back.
And we'll be right back with more of the TNT Monster Truck Challenge on ESPN. Superstars is set now on the TNT Monster Truck Challenge's first ever 3-lane race course. There's Scott Stevens, the Auto Value King Crunch, the defending World Championship truck, the Equalizer, with its new driver, the rookie, Greg Holbrook, and the old reliable, the Carolina Crusher, Gary Porter, Wadesboro, North Carolina, runner-up for the World Championship a year ago. 2 starters needed on this 3-lane course as the TNT officials try to keep things under control on the wildest race night ever. Hey, the Equalizer died at the line. It's going to be the Auto Value King Crunch. Scott Stevens out of Woodlands, Texas gets the victory over Gary Porter's Carolina Crusher in quarterfinal round competition. You see right there, the Equalizer never got off the line. Don't know the exact details of the problems there. But Scott Stevens will take the win any way he can get it. And the Auto Value King Crunch.
Yeah, Army, we broke a fuel pump in the last round. I thought it was running good. Took it out, and Kevin and Pete and everybody did their thing, and they said the truck's going to work this round. The suspension's still a little wishy-washy, but it's going to come around real good. We hurt the body a little bit that fast, but I think we're all right.
You're talking about the suspension. It looks like it's got a lot of give to it. Engine yaw.
Yeah, we got it set a little too soft right now. It's real good for me as far as driving, and it's just going to take a few passes. But, you know, the Auto Value King Crunch Special, you know, we're going to be there a while. Thank you.
If our last matchup was a battle of superstars in the sport, our next matchup has the upstarts trying to earn a spot in the next round of competition. It's Buffalo Tremor, the master of disaster, and Toughen Up. Not 3 of the better-known names, but they're all still alive in Texas Stadium. Let's see who gets the... Oh, man, I'll tell you, master of disaster almost pulled a complete wheelie at the start line, and now he's at the treble at the end. Doug Spanier trying to hold on. Oh, he barely held on without going through the barricade there. They've got a lot of hay bales set up, and Doug Spanier had to use them to keep that thing from going into the wall. What a wild run for Doug Spanier's Master of Disaster. And look, we were watching the Master of Disaster. The Tremor did hit the wall. There's Doug Spanier as he gets some comfort after the wildest run the Master of Disaster's been on in quite some time. He's from Albany, Minnesota, and look at the air. You knew he was going to get a wild bounce after getting that much air. Oh, goodness gracious, Doug Spanier barely keeps it inside a Texas stadium.
Doug Spanier, the further you go into this battle, the tougher these fights get.
Boy, I tell you, the first 2 runs I only went to 2nd gear, and I went to 3rd gear that run, and it hooked up. It just shot it. I probably should have caught 3rd a little bit quicker, but I caught it about the time I was going up the ramp, and I think I just launched it that much more.
Are you ready for the next round? Everything go?
I think everything's good. One arm's bent a little bit to straighten that out.
We'll see you in the next round. These Texans are loving every minute of it.
Yeah, no doubt.
Wow, what a run for Doug Spanier's Master of Disaster. I got to admire how calm he is after this wild, wild ride. You know, they have rodeos all over the state of Texas, but I don't know if any rodeo stars got a wilder ride from any of his Broncos than Doug Spanier just took in that monster truck. He got it down on all 4s. What we don't see is John Kwasniewski in the outside lane hit the wall in Buffalo Tremor, and Army Armstrong's with Johnny K.
Johnny K out of New York literally put it into the wall. What gave way on the truck?
We ripped the jack shaft out of the transmission. When I seen Doug coming over and it looked like he was going to roll, I didn't want to get in his way. So I went off to the side and it just ripped the shaft right out of the transmission. It just couldn't stop.
Can you get back into this next round? The way these 3 truck pairings are, I'm not sure you may be able to come back.
We might be able to. I got to get it out in the pits right now and see what I can do.
Good luck to you.
Thank you, Armin.
Texas, they knew they were going to have a fight on their hands. What they didn't realize was in order to win this one, you're literally going to have to take it to the wall.
That's from John Kwasniewski's Buffalo Tremor as Johnny K and the crew out of New York continuing to work on that Chevrolet truck, trying to see if they can make it back into the semifinal round. Now, here's the way they'll pair up in the semifinals. Tremor, we find out now, is going to be out. Clydesdale replaces him to go against Carolina Crusher and the Outlaw. Then Awesome Kong races the Auto Value King Crunch and Nightlife. The Fanatic comes back to take on Master of Disaster, USA 1. Those three winners will go into the Monster Smash final. So Mike Wine brings out the Outlaw, the Ford from New Jersey, to take on the Carolina Crusher from North Carolina, Gary Porter, and the big Clydesdale Chevrolet out of the state of Georgia. So Crusher will have the middle lane. Outlaw comes closest to us, or as the racers face the course, the far left-hand lane, and the Clydesdale truck to the far right-hand lane. Most of the monster guys said they'd rather be in the center. That gives you a little more room to stop down with the opening in the middle of the track. But the Outlaw gets the win from the far left-hand lane. Mike Wine and the Outlaw from New Jersey knocking off both Chevrolets, the Crusher and the Clydesdale. So Mike Wine and the Outlaw has earned a spot in the first ever three-lane monster truck final. That'll be coming up a little bit later. On the replay, you see Crusher had the edge, but Mike Wine fired the shot on the last set of cars, and it was enough to get him the victory. He's happy about it, and he's going to go over to talk with Army Armstrong.
Well, they're starting to set the final. The next three winners are going to the final. This is one of them driving a Ford called the Jersey Outlaw. Mike, did you believe you would be going to the final when this thing started tonight?
I didn't believe it until I qualified with it. Once I qualified and then laid a smooth run down, I had all the confidence in the world. Me and my boss, Nick Rossi, and everybody else that's helped build this truck over the last 7 weeks we built it. I'm going to the finals and I'm going to win.
Anybody in the final you do not want to see, or does it make any difference tonight?
I don't care who's there. It's just a shame Digger's not there. He had to break early.
Mike Wine and Dennis Anderson of the Gravedigger. Quite a little rivalry going, and a little dig from Wine, but Mike's celebrating tonight. He struggled a lot this year, but he's in the final here at Texas Stadium. So one of these trucks is going to join him now. It'll either be the Auto Value King Crunch on the far left, the Awesome Kong who you see, and the truck in the middle, which is Dave Wysorek's Nightlife Chevrolet. Scott Stevens, close to home in Woodlands, Texas, has earned a berth into the finals. Well, you get a great camera shot into the cab as Stevens is celebrating. He has earned one of the three spots in the first ever three-lane monster truck championship race. That's going to be coming up a little later here on ESPN. Stevens coming out, and he's got a lot of fans. As we mentioned, he's from Woodlands, Texas, and there are a lot of fans and friends here to cheer him on here on the three-lane monster truck racing course. And Stevens has got to win. I saw him mention, or at least looked like he was motioning to his crew chief about a breakage, so maybe Army Armstrong will find out if the truck's 100% or if it's in trouble.
Well, in Texas, we've got two of them that are going into the final. One of them's going to be a Ford, the Jersey Outlaw. Representing the GMC camp is going to be Scott Stevens. Scott, you're going to the final, and it's going to be a war, literally.
Auto Value Auto Parts, thank you. You're making it all possible. And the Goodyear tires, Trollmaster shocks, Kevin Ford, Pete Mitchell, everybody, the Parts Master people. The truck's working great. All new stuff tonight. Took me a little while to get used to it, and breaking a fuel pump slowed us down. Hey, we're just ready to go, and man, I'm just real happy to be in Dallas.
There's the word from a guy enjoying being back home, Scott Stevens. I thought he was going to do a cartwheel there for a minute as he almost jumps through the roof. Stevens getting the victory, and he'll earn a spot in the final. So will USA 1, Master of Disaster, or the Fanatic. The Fanatic, as we documented earlier, driven by a lady, Arlene Ed, who spent some time with our Chris Chapman a little bit earlier.
Arlene, did you expect to get this far?
No, I didn't expect it.
So what are you going to do now? You're going out there against some pretty strong competition.
Yeah, I'll just do my best. Just put my foot in it, I guess.
Put her foot in it. That's what Arlene Ed's going to do. We'll see if it's enough. And she has to take on Steve Wilke's USA 1 and the wildest ride of the night. That goes to Doug Spanier and Master of Disaster. He's back and would love to keep it a little tamer this time around. Good start for Master of Disaster. Wow, a very, very close run. Both the USA 1 truck and the Master of Disaster trying to get it stopped down. Very, very close run, but the win goes to Doug Spanier, and the master of disaster, as Fanatic, was not able to complete the run. Here's Army with your winner, Doug Spanier.
You talk about a fairy tale story. Look at this. We're going to the final. We got one Ford, we got one GMC, we got one Chevrolet. Representing the Chevrolet camp, the man that nobody thought was going to be there. Doug, it's going to be you for the Chevrolet boys. Listen to this crowd.
Yeah, that's great.
How's the truck feeling to you out there?
That feels good yet. Even though the crash had bent the front 4-link arms a little bit, we got them all straightened out. It feels good yet.
The Monster Smash Final. Army documented it. You got a battle of the makes and models coming in. GMC, Scott Stevens, the Auto Value King Crunch. The Ford camp, represented by Mike Wine's Big Bad Outlaw. As Mike mounts up in the truck in the pits, he'll be rolling it in momentarily. And of course, the Chevrolet is Doug Spanier's Master of Disaster. The final is coming up. It's been a historic night on the TNT Monster Truck Challenge at Texas Stadium in Dallas, just outside of Dallas if you want to be exact with your geography, Irving, Texas. And now the history is about to be made with the first ever monster truck winner on a 3-lane course. It'll either be Mike Wine's Outlaw Ford, in the middle of the track Doug Spanier's Master of Disaster Chevrolet, and on the far outside as we look at the track, Scott Stevens and the Auto Value King Crunch Special. GMC's dive, he's in trouble. And it's a photo finish between the Ford, the Outlaw, and Mike Wine, and the Chevrolet, Doug Spanier's Master of Disaster. And friends, we don't know at this point who got the victory. Master of Disaster and Outlaw crossed the finish line together. Right now, both drivers are rolling back up. This is where they'll park their trucks as the event has come to a close, but they don't know who's won. Wine acknowledging the cheers of the crowd, but he doesn't know if he's won. He thinks he's won, obviously, with the thumbs up sign. Spanier's got a smile. He thinks he's won. What the drivers are doing right now is they're looking up at what you're seeing on the Diamond Vision screen at Texas Stadium. They're watching the race replay on Diamond Vision because nobody knows who has the victory. We're going to listen to the track announcer and see if we can hear who got the win. Truck course in Texas Stadium. A handshake from Mike Wine, and Army Armstrong's going to go talk to him.
Well, on a night of competition like this, you can only going to have one winner, but what a story this has been tonight. At one point in time, I didn't think you were even going to come back.
I thought I was going to be upside before the night was over with that second last run there.
How about this Mike Wine? You and he put on just a whale of a show here in this final.
Yeah, I knew it was going to be tight, and then I took off, and I heard Mike right there, and King Crunch died out. So I thought, well, the only thing I got left is to go for Mike. And boy, I looked over, and we were going across the finish line, and I thought it's right neck and neck. I don't know who's going to tell.
What it looked like to me was that you just got the good bounce and bounced that right on him.
I waited until I landed on the second set of cars to hit third gear, and it seems like I stayed on the cars. I got into third gear, and I think that's what got me to win.
Congratulations to you.
Thanks a lot.
The new points after the Texas Stadium encounter. Your point leaders struggled, so Bigfoot and Equalizer remain 1-2, but the Auto Value King Crunch gained a lot of points. Crusher and Kong still in the top 5. Then it's Gravedigger, USA 1, Buffalo Tremor, Nightlife, and the Outlaw making up some ground tonight as well. Here's Mike Wine with Army Armstrong.
Mike, I'm going to be real honest with you. I thought you had your first win right there.
So did I. I was all pumped up and I was ready for it. The motor, we're just running it so hot, so hard. She's giving everything she's got. I'm pushing it a little bit too hard, but when you run against Doug or anybody here, you got to push it hard.
The new truck is definitely working, isn't it?
The new truck is going to be in the top 5 this year, and next year we'll be on number 1.